See if this is gonna work. What's up, OBS? Okay. There we go. Let's see if it loads up. Yes. Sweet. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I wanted to get replay mod to work for 1.16 for me. I'm sure there's other ways about going about this and, doing all these wonderful, beautiful, different things. So let's talk about Fabric first, I guess. So all the links are in the description, but as you can see here, this is Fabric's GitHub page right here. So for Fabric Minecraft right here. Basically, you got to know a little bit about decompiling Java jars and putting them back together and all that kind of stuff, and deobfuscating code, which is a fancy word for basically taking mappings that you have and putting them back into human readable format. So what they use for that is something called Yarn right here. And their build system is the Loom over here, which is their Gradle build system that injects things and uses different decompilation tools. I think they use Fernflower. I'm pretty sure they do in order to do that. And there's some more things, but I just wanted to present that just to get started because we might be saying something about mappings later on. And so we can actually take a look at maybe Yarn really quick here, depending on how fast my internet speed is, and since I'm streaming at the moment. So you can see they have this mappings thing right here, and we can see that there's net.minecraft and com.mojang. There's more to that, but if we go inside of here, I don't know, one of the bigger ones, is like the world one. It's different from the mappings for other ones, but world is like your main class basically. And you can see that it takes the field right here, 16316, the profiler supplier, right? And it says this is the class name right here now, right? So it just basically says, hey, class name 1937 is equal to world.world, right? Field 9235 is now equal to rain gradient, right? And so on and so forth. We can see that these are fields or members basically. And then we have methods right here, right? So this is the method. And they use this like get profiler as a method, right? Or schedule block render if needed, add important particles, right? So this will change what you see after you decompile, Java jars, you'll see, and it'll be called, method underscore whatever. And so what the community has done is they've gone out and, mapped all these together. And there's certain tools to help with all of this, but this video is not really about, making, deobfuscated code or, remapping and so on and so forth. I guess this is more about replay mod, but to get started, there you go. So links in the description again. So Fabric is all of that all put together. And once that's done, you have this download, you have an area to use it. Here is where you can get Fabric from, right? Obviously you need Minecraft installed. You need certain sorts of things. I'm on Linux, so it's going to be different than, Windows. If you're on Windows, I can't really help you because I don't know much about Windows. I've always used GNU/Linux my whole life. But anyways, you click on the download the installer, and since it's a jar file, you make it executable and you run it. After that's been ran, it'll install it. It'll do the things that are needed in order for it to install, which I've already done at this point. Another thing that you're going to need is the Fabric API. And the link is in the description for Fabric API. an API to be able to use Fabric. So one of the things that Fabric uses is an assembly tool that just injects code as it's running. It's kind of hard to explain. I'm probably doing a really poor job with that, but basically it takes the code and it says, hey, we can inject this via this ASM, right? And that makes it so that you can inject code, right, or rename code or that sort of thing. One of the and that's basically what Fabric does. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but I'm not gonna go crazy into all of that. But if you were to take a look, if we go back a couple of pages here to their Fabric MC, they should have like an example mod. Yeah. And in their example mod, you can see that there's gonna be a source main. If you know anything about Java, this is what they do. And inside of here, there should be like a different types of examples that you can use. And underneath resources, there should be a mix-in. So this mix-in is what I was just talking about. So putting, different sorts of things into the into the code as it's running, compiling it down and so on and so forth. Looks like, I'm not sure, I haven't looked at the mod, the Fabric example mod, in quite a bit of time, but it basically injects code at maybe where that world was, right? So you can have something run during that or whatever. Maybe you want to put a new button in, or you want to put, it's just the basics of mods. Basically, there's tons of tutorials out there about modding Minecraft and how you can go about that. If that's something you guys are all interested in, I could make some tutorials about that. I guess we could make a couple simple mods or something. I don't know, we could do something with it. So the next thing I want to get along to would be the Fabric API, and so it's in the in the description, but here it is on CurseForge. If we go down, there should be a files, and underneath here, there should be, there you go, 1.16.1. So this API allows you to, link in and do all sorts of other fun stuff. But you can see here's the action to download right here, if you wanted to download this. So there's also this dude, Massa. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. If not, I really apologize. I ran into him on IRC and also on many different Discords. It actually seemed like everywhere I was going, he was answering my questions. I should have maybe just, talked to him directly, but I felt, let's get it out in the community sort of deal. He has this site right here, but one of the big libraries that he uses is this malib right here library, which is used in conjunction with, say, Litematica or MiniHUD or Item Scroller, Tweakaroo, so on and so forth. But I might be referencing this, and he has a pretty cool site that you can. I think it's light HTTP. Not really sure. We can probably find out just by going to this page and looking if he allows that on his site. Oh yeah, he does. So yep, I was right. So you can see, here's the client mods and here's some other mods that he has, and you can kind of move around and take a look at the different mods. So install Fabric, straightforward, download the jar. I've already downloaded it, but once you download it, I'm going to save. I usually set up folders like underneath my Minecraft folder. I'll have like a downloads folder and other sorts of stuff, but you can see I've already installed Fabric installer right here. And I've ran it, so I can just cancel this right now. But if we did want to go into that downloads and run it again, I don't think it would do anything wrong. Just overwrite everything that we already have. So there's the Fabric installer right there. Maybe I should probably clean this up and do like how I have here, 115, then I should have a 116, so on and so forth. Some of these are hacked together by me and are, quite the pain. But that being said, we could, go to the properties and set the permissions and make sure it's executable. Okay. And then we double click it. And we should get a Java runtime program started up. I don't know where it is, but it should install. I don't know, maybe because it's already, oh, here it is, right? So here's for the server, here's the build, and you can create the profile. You can also do show snapshots. But you can see right here the version 1.16.1. I would press install. I've already installed it. If your Minecraft directory is not here, you might want to, set it up somewhere else or do whatever it is that you want to do. So after you install that, you should have something, you should have like a mods folder and some other folders that show up now here underneath this directory. One of the mods folders, I've used these, I put them into, 116, 115, so on and so forth, backups, different Optifine versions. And so I can just grab them simply. If we go inside of here, you can see here are all of the mods that I'm going to use for our demonstration here. One of them does not have a release at the moment. I'm sure probably by the time this comes out, it will, but that's for the replay mod, which is a great mod. Allows you to record your play and, alter it and have fun with that. Upload videos afterwards. I think they took the upload thing out now, but you can upload your own video, obviously, after being saved. It depends on FFmpeg, which, if you don't know what that is, it's been around for quite a while. It runs really well on Unix-like operating systems. It's a recording software is what it is, with a lot of different options and availabilities to de-interlace the videos and do all sorts of different fun stuff. So as you can see, I've downloaded the API, the Fabric API. After I did that, I got the item scroller, Lightmatica, Malib. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right or not, whatever. Mod menu, I also went and downloaded as well, so that I could show you guys the mods that are here. And the Shulker box tip, which allows me to scroll over a Shulker box and then be able to see what's inside of it without, having to drop it on the ground, open it up, all that kind of stuff. Tweakaroo is a really cool thing that you can use to move like pistons and other objects. So when you're placing them down, you don't have to place it down, 3 different times trying to get it to be in a direction, so to say. Lightmatica is a schematic program. It's fabulous. So yeah, that's what I've done. But you can't download this one at the time of this recording, this replay mod one right here. That's something that, well, it is what it is. But, so what I did was I went over their GitHub page and I took a look, and I went to their code and I looked at the development branch, and I know a little bit about Java. Well, I actually know quite a bit, but there's usually like some build files, right? Some settings files and stuff. And you can see that right here in this settings.gradle file right here, there should be versions. Yeah, we can see 115.2 is the only one. So that's in the development branch. So then I said to myself, well, let's take a look at their code a little bit more, because I was going to take their code and import it myself, and so that I could use replay mod. So if I hit the branches tab right here, we can see that there should be a list of different branches, who's ahead, who's behind. And I noticed that this dude Johnny right here has a snapshot one that's 7 commits ahead but 5 commits behind. We can hit on the compare one right here, and we can take a look at the different files, and if we're able to merge if we want to, all sorts of fun stuff like that. But the first thing I noticed was 1.16, and I said, whoa, cool, I'm not going to have to do this myself. So that's great. And so I went and I compiled it, on its own. So in order to be able to do that, you're going to need Java installed, the JVM also. And so I did that. Obviously, you're going to need Git installed as well to be able to check out the code and to clone it and do all sorts of fun stuff. Initialize submodules. Submodules are basically files. It's a file that there's a Git modules file and inside that file, it points to other repositories, right? And those repositories have things and whatever. Should be right. Yeah, get modules right here. And you can see that inside of here are all the different submodules that are needed. Yeah, Forge Flower, so on and so forth for, using that. If we switch over to that branch that we were just talking about, we can do that by clicking right here and going down. There's that snapshot guy right there. We can go down and we can see, hey, look, there's JGUI and, all the different things. There's the mixin we had talked about earlier. There's all sorts of fun stuff here. But anyways, so to get started, usually most things have readmes and whatever. I took a look at their readme. It's pretty straightforward. They exactly talk about initializing those submodules that we just said right there. So you can update it and initialize at the same time recursively across. You used to not be able to do that, but you can now. I think that was like 1.8. They changed that in Git. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. But basically, we only want to build replay mod for one version, and that's 1.16, because that's what we're using, and we can download them otherwise if not. And they have this nice little no IDE thing here for making a shadow jar. So basically, to do that, the first thing I needed to do was to make sure that my Java home was set. You can search, again, this is Unix stuff here, but if I do app cache search, open JDK, right, we have JDK 11. A lot of people are using 8, which is, well, it is what it is. There's performance, underperformance, whatever, but so what you want to do is what Ubuntu does, or Debian does more specifically, is underneath, I think it's like, if I list var lib JVM, no, is it Java? I had to go and find this earlier, so echo Java home. So Java home was not set for me. Oh, it's user. Unix system resources. List user lib JVM. You can see that I have 11 installed, and also 8. But if there's also this system link right here, if I do a list all on that, that system link right there, user lib JVM default, you can see that it points over to Java 11. And I don't want to use that. I want to use, 1.8. Now, this is kind of antiquated, but some of these tools still use this Java home variable here. And so I had to set that. To do that, you just simply do export, Java home with the underscore in between equals, and then we want to set it to there. I've already done it, but it would, just be user lib JVM Java 8 open JDK, right? Just like that. And then to make sure it's exported, you can just do echo the variable. There it is. If you do it this way, it's not going to be persistent. It's only going to be to this terminal right here that you have open on this interpreted shell that you have going at the moment. You can do that. I think there's inside of your environments file, which is underneath etc. External text configuration. There should be an environments file, and you can put this in there. And then when you start up, or you can put it all over in different sorts of places, but for safety, or for simplicity reasons, I'm just going to do it this way. But we can see there it is. Also, we don't need the trailing at the end. So let's just do that, and let's take another look. So cool, it's all set up right there. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to download the code, or clone the code in that specific branch that I showed of the one that had support for 1.16. So that's in that snapshot one. So to do something along those lines, it's quite simple. I create directories for Git. I do like an open source one, closed source one, so on and so forth. But for right now, I'm just going to change directories over to temp. This will be deleted when I restart my computer. But I've already done this, so I already have the jar and all that kind of stuff. So, but I don't need to do. But for you guys, I'm going to show you how to do it or whatever. So if you want, replay mod, you could probably do this. So basically, git clone will clone the thing, and the -b is for the branch that you want to use, and it was called snapshot. Was it snapshots or no? With a single O. So snapshot, that's the branch that we want to check out. And then what we want to do is use this link a while, depending on how many resources are inside of that, or how many big changes have been made or whatever. So it'll clone that. Like I said, it might take a while depending on if there's images or all sorts of different other sorts of stuff. But so it looks like it's going to take quite a little bit of time. While that's going on, we can talk more about getting things up and running and so on and so forth. By this time, you should probably already installed the API and all of the other sorts of things, right? So at this point, you should have all of these jars minus the mod menu and the replay mod. So these two right here, you should not have, but the rest of these you probably should. At minimum, what you really need for runtime is going to be the Fabric API. At minimum, I don't usually use Item Scroller or Tweakaroo myself, but they're fun. And I thought that I'd show off some of Mass's work because he does some really amazing stuff. I keep on running into him in code and also on chat and so on and so forth. So big up to him for doing that. So once this all downloads, the next thing that we're going to have to do is check out all those submodules that we had spoke about just a little bit ago. I'm going to check the chat also too to see if anybody has said anything yet. So there's not even anybody in here, but maybe I'm going to pop this thing out and then we can, if anybody shows up, maybe it'll ping me on it or something. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. But anyways, let's see how that download's coming. So we're at 62% at the moment. It's going to take a little bit of time. Configuring usually takes the most time. So again, you're going to need Java installed. You're going to need, the JVM, the JRE, the JDK especially. And set it all up. If you have problems with that, you can definitely find all sorts of different tutorials out there to help you with. Oh, cool. So it's done over here. So there should be now a folder called replay mod that I can change directories into right here. This is awesome. And what we can do is say get branch to look at the branch that we're on. And in fact, we are in that snapshot branch. So that's great. We could probably, check out the development branch and then merge the snapshot branch into the development branch. But the number one thing is making sure that this file right here has that 1.16 for me, because I didn't want to rewrite somebody else's work that they had already done. So we can cat that file out. And you can see right there it is, 1.16. So that's awesome. We can use that. So let's now make sure that we initialize all the submodules. So we do get submodule update init recursive, and that'll clone out all those other sorts of things. And as these are going by, I can try and do some things, tell you about what some of these things are. JGUI, a GUI library for Java. Mixin is the one that I was talking about before, injecting code into certain functions at the end of them or the beginning of them, or overwriting them completely. uh, Forge Flower, I'm not Forge and Gradle and all these other sorts of things. Gradle is a whole entire wrapper around things in order to build stuff. Um, yeah, I don't know what SRG to source is. I should probably look that up, but you can see all of these different things are coming from either Forge or, they're going to be coming from, Fabric. But it needs to download all of these sorts of things. Because it's a little bit hard to handle submodules as individual things, like as if I wanted to do just Forge versus just Fabric. It is a little bit difficult. But you can see it starts cloning into all the submodules and does all of those sorts of things. And one of the things that we can do if I split this horizontally is just we can cat out that, get modules file right here. You can see this one right here has a specific branch that it's going against. That's something that you can do. And this one has a space in it for some reason, which should probably be removed, but who am I to judge? But you can see it's downloading each one of these right now, or cloning each one of those here. And it says where it wants to clone them to, right? So this is where it's going to end up, right? Where JGUI just ends up in the path of JGUI. These ones are going to end up in the path, right, of source main resource asset replay mod languages, where the URL is where it pulls it from, right? So this is where all their translations are coming from, right? Or the Gradle, Forge Flower right here is going to get installed to Gradle, whatever, upstream, so on and so forth. These are where they should all end up. If you end up with errors over here on this side, then this file is wrong and should be updated. You can see Fernflower. Okay, cool. So we got all of them, and they checked out a certain issue or certain revs. Right here's a SHA one that tells us what rev it's at. So basically, what we can do now is we can, we could compile if we want to, but if we do a list, there should be that JGUI now. Yeah, there it is right there. So in their README file, like I said before, they had a nice little thing over here for you just doing a certain version, right, with the shadow jar build, right? So we can just grab this, right? But obviously we don't want to do 1.8, right? So I'm just going to put a pound symbol in front so it's commented out. So even if I paste and something was to go wrong, it would have not ran. So 1.16 is what we want to do on the shadow jar. And you can see there is the executable file right there. That's going to pull in all sorts of different configurations, all sorts of different build files, and all sorts of different stuff. And it's going to start downloading and building and doing all sorts of stuff. So if we do that, it should start configuring stuff. Now, this should take quite a bit of time due to the different, things that are needed to, put this all together, as jars are kind of all in one sort of deal. Yeah. So you can see it's grabbing JGUI, but it looks like JGUI 1.16 is actually pointing to 1.15.2. So I don't know. Maybe it does something else later on in the configuration steps. Usually you get to about 9%, and then all of a sudden it just kind of sits there for quite a bit of time trying to figure out what it's trying to do as far as the configurations are concerned. If you guys are interested more in Gradle and, how it works and all that kind of stuff, leave a comment down below, and I can go into that kind of stuff if you want. Yeah. Oh, look, here's remapping, right? Fabric, key binding, so on and so forth. Remember at the beginning of this video, we talked about mappings files, and there's yarn right there that we were talking about, right? So it's remapping all the source code and doing all of the things that it needs to do in order to be able to build against this thing, right? So you can see Fabric Loader is, with Tiny Mapper, Tiny Remapper has been remapped, and all of this source code here has all been remapped. And we can see that the Fabric API base and the Fabric API and what versions it was, and so on and so forth. Oh, look, here comes mod menu right here coming in, Loom, all sorts of different sorts of stuff. Um, and it looks like it's executing the compilation of it now. So that's great. You know, that's awesome. Oh, there's the mix-in right there that we had talked about. We'd had some warnings come up and that kind of stuff too as well, which should probably, this inject method probably is invalid. I don't know. I'd have to take a look at that right there. But we're at 96%. It's probably creating the jar at this moment. And usually there's like a build folder. Hey, it looks like we are winners, right? So that's cool. So now if we take a look, yeah, there's the build folder, right? And then cache. Whoops, that's not in there. Maybe they have like a libs folder. It depends sometimes. Sometimes it's underneath Gradle. There's all sorts of stuff. But what we can do is just search for all the jars that it built too as well. So we'll use find from this directory. And the name of it is going to be anything.jar. And you can see here all of the jars right here. Loom, cache, upstream, so on and so forth. But if we take a look, there's JGUI. Look at this right here. Versions 1.16 build lib replay mod.jar. So there we go. So it's underneath this versions thing, right? So what we're going to do right now is we're going to take this right here and we're going to move it over to that folder that we did before. So what we can simply do is just copy that file right to my home directory that has the Minecraft mods, right? So Minecraft mods, right? So we're just copy that file over, and to prove that, we just go up one, and there it is, the replay mod right there. So if we go back, we could download all the other mods and put them in here too. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all of these minus the replay mod, and I'm going to put them up into the mods folder. So there's the one that I built from before, but here's the one we just built right here. We just built that one. We shouldn't have done that. It's fine though. It's just tried to execute it when it didn't need to. But so now what we need to do is we need to launch Minecraft, and you should see that you have the fabric loader down here at 1.16.1. We can press our play button right here. Might have to download some things or whatever. Yeah, preparing, it might have to download 1.16. I don't know, but this is kind of like moment of truth sort of deal or whatever. In a little second it should load. I should probably put some more RAM towards it, but we can see here if it works. It would be cool if it did. So cool. So here's Minecraft 1.16.1 showing up. Thank you, Mojang, for making the Nether such a beautiful place. And so now, cool. So now we can see here, I'm going to change my profile for my audio really quickly. When I have my headphones on, I have to do a noise sync cancellation thing. So anyways, here's the mods, and we can see there's item scroller, Lightmatica, Minecraft, Mini HUD, mod menu, and there is replay mod, Shulker Box tooltip, Tweakaroo client, right? Cool. So we hit the done button. We can also see replay viewer here too, as well. So let's go into my single player world. We can see record single player right here. What we'll do, we'll just walk around real quick and make sure that this thing is working. You know, tool tips, that kind of stuff or whatever, right? So it's loading up right now, injecting all that code via Mixin. Okay, cool. So here we are, and we can see in the bottom left right there and the top, it's recording, or so it says. Let's just, I don't know, run over here. I got my... Cool, so we'll just fly around my base real quick. go back in. And let's see here. We can see that Tweakeroo is working right there by pressing the control button if we wanted to place something down at the bottom or the right or the left. So that's good. That's working. Let's see if the shulker box peeker is. Oh, I have one right there. Yeah, cool. So left plus alt, and it'll show the whole thing. So that's cool. And then I guess, we could check and see if schematics are working and stuff, but I'm sure they are. That guy, Massa, again, if I mispronounce your name, I'm really sorry. He's a genius. Well, he's a Java guy. So anyways, which is a good thing. The next thing, what we're going to do is just quit, right? And save and quit the title. And we'll go into our replay viewer. Oh, it looks like the button for the uploader thing is gone now. And we'll click right here and load this up and see if it, oh, look at this. Looks to be working to me. I can fly around if I want. Let's see if we can go underground. Let's see if the rendering for that's been fixed. Oh, there we go. Cool. And we can go off the chunk. Go over my slime farm real quick. Cool. So replay mod's working. And so that's how you can get replay mods started and going. I'm sure by the time this video goes out or gets any sort of person watching it, that it will already have been added to 1.16. But I don't know. We flew around the base, right? So we can go try and find ourselves. I don't know where we should probably be down here somewhere by now. I think. I don't know. Oh, yep, there I am. So cool. Well, this is we can exit the replay now and quit the game if we want. Yeah. So, anyways, this is Joseph. Be nice to everybody out there, please, and enjoy yourself.